I want to share with you and break down how I learned to fall in love with the creative process. Lego, believe it or not, taught me about slowing down and learning to fall in love and enjoy the process. I've been running this podcast since 2017 and I started coaching in 2018. Beyond that, I worked in the BBC. I used to be a social media producer for Radio 1 Extra. I've had a music blog. I used to run regular club nights in East London and a bunch of other stuff. And there's many learnings that I've made along the way about the creative process or creating something, a product, a brand, a business, or whatever it may be, even just something as simple as like a piece of content. And I've really seen that a lot of people get caught up in the idea of, okay, how can I make this brand, this business the best it can be? And they create a destination point. And I used to do this when I started out. I did this. I created a destination point of when I get to that point over there, then I will be happy, or then I'll have the business that I love, or then whatever. And I was creating a point outside of time. So when I say that, what I mean is a point outside of now. I was creating a reference point in the future. And I was putting all of my energy towards that and thinking that actually when I get to that point, that's when I'm going to be happy and I'll have the product or the business or the idea or the event or the brand or whatever it was that I want. And over the many years that I've been creating content, coaching, building my business, whatever it is, and anything that I've been involved in, the one thing that I've noticed is that I've really loved the process of it. And you've heard it loads of times, right? This isn't anything new. This isn't a new piece of information of, you learn to love the process, not the destination. But this is how I really got into loving that process. And what I used to find was that the more I focused on getting to the end, the more frustrated I got. The more frustrated I got, the more likely I was to get annoyed or upset or angry, and I'd put things off, right? I wouldn't be enjoying what I was doing, and it would actually make my progress a lot slower in building my brand or my business or whatever it may be. And I came across this coaching book by a guy called Steve Chandler. Shout out Steve. And he used to talk about slowing down. Slow down to speed up your success. And I never really got it. I got the idea of it, but I never really got it, like the real nuts and bolts of it. I never lived it, is probably the best way to say it. What he was pointing at was like, if you're really willing to slow down and take your time and be methodical and take it one step at a time, those steps, those small actions build up and they will speed up your success if you're just focusing on the small steps. And I was trying to look like 10, 15, 100 steps ahead, and I was getting frustrated and I was finding myself not wanting to do the work. And it happened loads. When I started my coaching business in 2018, for example, I wanted to have a successful business straight away. That was my goal. I want to be successful. I want to be a successful coach. I want to have a successful business. And the more time I spent not having the idea of the business that I had in my head in reality, the more frustrated I got. The more frustrated I got, the more annoyed I got in, when I wasn't, building the business, the more annoyed I got with my progress, the longer it took me to start making forward momentum or creating forward momentum. It's really funny because a couple years ago, there was something that really taught me a big lesson in this, right? This little fella here, right? This is a TIE fighter from Star Wars made from Lego, right? Lego, believe it or not, taught me about slowing down and learning to fall in love and enjoy the process. I was in my parents' house, helped my mom with the Christmas decorations and whatnot. And in the loft, I came across a box of Lego, like chest of Lego, like a literal chest of Lego. And next to it, there was a big box like this big. And it was a Lego pirate ship that I got given as a Christmas present when I was younger. And I remember it distinctly. Me, my dad, my uncle, and I think my granddad as well. We'd sit around and we put the ship together and what have you. And I used to love it. It used to just be there, and it used to sit on the shelf, and I used to like play with the little pirates and stuff. But for whatever reason, that year I was like, do you know what? I really fancy like building that pirate ship again. I got the box out and I opened it. Lo and behold, there wasn't much Lego in it, right? All of the pieces were in this massive chest. So I was like, okay, well, if I want to do this, if I want to build this pirate ship, I had the instructions and everything, I'm going to have to sift through this big chest of Lego. So the first order of the day was to spend some time splitting the Lego bricks into different colors, the yellows, the greens, the reds, the blacks, the whites, grays, etc. And then I got the pirate ship instructions out and I opened it and I started, going at it. And at first I was like, I mean, it must be like 1,000 pieces at least, right? At least, probably more. And it takes a few hours to be honest. What I found at first was that the more I was trying to rush and find like the right color brick, the more I was messing up. And the more I was messing up and trying to find the bricks, the more annoyed I was getting. The more annoyed I was getting, the more I just wanted to finish it. The more I just wanted to finish it, the more I was rushing. And what happened was I ended up getting very frustrated. And I remember at one point I just like pushed all the Lego bricks, like, oh, this is so annoying, and went off downstairs in a hump, right? It's funny when I think about it now. And then I think it was later that evening or even the next day, I sat down to do the pirate ship again, and I just said to myself, right, let's take the idea of finishing the pirate ship out of the picture. Like, it's an inevitability. If I put the bricks in the right places and follow the instructions, it's an inevitability, right? So let me just focus on finding the next piece and putting it in place. And what happened was I really began to slow down. I really began to go, okay, this is the instruction. I need this piece. It's, whatever, it's gray and it looks like that. Okay, let's go through the gray pile. Let's try and find the piece. And bear in mind that all of the Lego that was spread out around me, it it wasn't just for the pirate ship, it's for all of the Lego that I had as a kid. So there was like loads of bricks and pieces that weren't even involved in the making of the pirate ship. So I was sifting through all of this. So sometimes trying to find the right piece was taking me like a few minutes at a time rather than it just being an easy thing. And the more that I started to really slow down, the more that I started to just say to myself, all right, let's find the next brick, the more satisfying it became. Okay, there's the brick. I found it. Okay, great. Now let me put it in place. Okay, great. Okay, right. Where's the next one? Find the next one, put it in place. Find the next one, put it in place. And I started to really enjoy the process of building the pirate ship. And over I think it was like 3 or 4 days or whatever, over the 3 or 4 days, I actually got the ship built very quickly. Considering, if I carried on of how I went on day one, it probably would have taken me weeks if I kept getting annoyed and frustrated and everything like that. And I remember, like, once I finished the pirate ship, I was kind of like, oh, now what? Like, it's finished. Now what? Like, what? I can't really, realistically, I can't do anything with it. I can put it on the shelf. I used to have it in my old place. I used to have it behind me in my videos. Some of you may remember. That's it. I can just look at it. I can't really play with it. I can't really do anything with it. I can just look at it. So completing and finishing the piece of Lego doesn't really drastically change anything about my day-to-day life. Really. It just means I have something to look at, and that was it. And when I was reflecting on that, I was like, so why was I trying to rush in the first instance to finishing it? Because now I finished it, I'm a bit like, all right, just put it on the shelf and I can just get on with my day and do something else. There wasn't really much else that I could do. And I was like, well, if I was trying to rush, what was the point? Because now that I've completed it, I'm in a place where it's like, okay, well, I would like something else to do or to enjoy myself. And I started to really see that actually the whole point of Lego in the first place is the enjoyment in the building of it. It's learning to love the process of building it, not the finished product. Because again, even with this TIE fighter, right, I built this a couple weeks ago. There's not much I can do with it. It shoots out these little laser things, right? And there's a little man on the inside, but I can't really do anything with it. It's just on display. Just look at it and use it for telling a story like this. But other than that, I can't really do anything with it. There's a really powerful lesson in that. My coaching business is fairly successful, right? I 5x my income in the last 18 months and I'm doing it full time and earning good money from it. I'm back living in my old place, which is great, but I'm nowhere near where I want the business to be. So the more focused I am on the business and where I want it to be, the more frustrated I'm going to get when I'm not there. The more frustrated I'm going to get, the more I'm going to rush, the more I'm going to mess up. And I was having this conversation with one of my clients recently, and they were telling me like, oh, I'm not where I want to be, and I feel really like I beat myself up about it, and I'm judging myself, and etc. etc. And I said to them, I said, do you know what the problem is here? And they were like, no, what is it? And I said, the problem is you're not in love with the process of creating something. You're in love with your idea about the end destination and the end goal. And they were like, oh, yeah, I think you're right. I'm obsessed with getting to that point. We were talking earlier about that X destination, the when. But I'm not in love with the process of creating it. And I said, right, so you need to learn how to fall in love and enjoy the process of creating something. So take 2 guesses on what I set that person for their homework for the week. I said, right, I want you to do is I want you to buy some Lego. And I explained why. I told them, what I've just explained to you. And I said, I want you to sit down and I want you to build this Lego. And I want you to tell me what learnings you get from it. Because this is really going to help you learn to fall in love with the process of creating something. Because the enjoyment isn't in the destination, isn't in the finished product. It's in who you get to become on the journey. And that's with Lego or building a business or a brand or even a relationship. A relationship isn't about, okay, when we're married, when we have kids, then our life will be great. It's about how are you learning to be in the process of a relationship with someone, and how are you learning to love the process of that with them? Who are you becoming by being in a relationship with them? And it's something we're not often, shown, I don't think. We're shown, okay, we need to create and you need to get to the end destination. And when you get to the end destination and you meet your goals, your life's going to be great and you're going to be happy. It's not necessarily true. It's really not. So one thing that I've really seen is that the more that I spend in my business and the more time I spend enjoying the process of creating, the faster I get towards my goals. Like I said, I've 5x my income in the last 18 months. It's not a coincidence, because I've really learned to enjoy the process of building my business, and therefore my income has matched it. It has gone up with that enjoyment. Same goes with the podcast. When I first started out with the podcast back in 2017, it wasn't about, okay, I need to get into the top charts, and when I get there, then I'll be really happy, then I'll be really successful. Because if it was, 5 years later, I wouldn't be here recording this, right? I would have given up a long time ago, because the podcast isn't up there in the top charts. It has been, but it hasn't stayed up there. It's not one of the most recognized podcasts in the world, even if it gives some of the best value in the world, in my opinion. If it was just about the end destination, I would have given up the game a long time ago. And this is why a lot of businesses, a lot of relationships, a lot of projects, a lot of creative projects fail in the short term, because people are so fixated on the end destination that they just want to get to that point, and they're not willing to slow down and learn to fall in love with the process of creating, because that's where the magic is. The magic is in the creation. One of my favorite things that I love to say is the journey to the destination is the destination. It's not about the destination, it's the journey is the destination. If you can see that you being in the journey is the destination that you're trying to get to, all of the enjoyment that you want by being at the end is available to you in any moment at any part of the journey, then you're already in some way at the destination that you're looking for. And then getting to that point in time that you want is just a bonus on top of that. And I'm really seeing this in my life, in my business, in my relationship. The learning to love the process of creating is what's allowing me to create and speed up the success and achieve the things I'm looking to achieve. But I would love to hear from you. I don't create these episodes just to talk into the microphone and to just shout down the camera. I create them because I want to enjoy the process of it, but also because I want to create conversations with people. So I'd love to hear what you get from this episode. You can do that by hitting me up on Instagram at I am Alex Manzi. Send me a DM and let me know what's the one biggest learning that you're taking away from this video. And if you're liking what you're seeing, you're liking what you're watching, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button. And do not forget to share it with a friend, because we can really spread these messages by sending the messages of these videos to other people that we know are going to benefit from watching them or listening to them. So I want to thank you for spending the time with me today, and I'll see you for the next one.